Welcome. Today we want to offer you something more than just a conversation about vision boards. We want to talk about why they often don't work and what changes everything when they do. Let's be honest, most people don't get results from their vision boards. They gather inspirational images, they Google multiple, hang it somewhere prominent, and wait. Weeks go by, then months. The images start to feel distant, sometimes even discouraging, and eventually the board becomes wall decor, a reminder not of potential but of disappointment. So here's the thing: vision boards can work, but not the way most people think. Manifestation isn't a visual wish list. It's an act of energetic and psychological alignment. And your board is a mirror of that alignment. If it's built from the wrong frequency, if it's emotionally disconnected, too lofty, or energetically off, it can quietly reinforce the very sense of lack we're trying to escape. Let's start with the first major misunderstanding, what I call the pedestal problem. People choose goals that are too far from where they are now, not too big. Big is good, but too emotionally distant. They see the dream house or the luxury lifestyle, think, wow, imagine if. That feeling of awe becomes separation. It puts the goal up high on a pedestal and the self down low like an admirer, peering up at something they can't touch. But for a vision board to work, every image must feel like it belongs in your life. Not someday, not maybe, but as a logical, natural evolution of who you already are. You don't need to water down your dreams. You need to ground them in emotional resonance. You need to feel, yes, I can see myself here. This feels like home. Because when your vision board feels like a preview instead of fantasy, it stops being a visual wish list and starts becoming a magnetic field.
And that is such a powerful shift. And it brings us to something equally crucial: how you select those images. One of the biggest reasons vision boards fall flat is the use of generic visuals. Stock imagery, shiny symbols of success that could belong to anyone. The problem isn't aesthetic, it's emotional. These images may look impressive, but they often don't mean anything to you. And without the emotional relevance, they don't anchor your subconscious. They just decorate your wall. If you want your vision board to work, you've got to go deeper. Ask yourself, what is this image actually saying to me? Does it reflect my life, my values, my future? Instead of a picture of a private jet, why not include an image of one exact kind of travel experience that lights you up? Maybe it's a weekend riding retreat in the mountains. Maybe it's a coastal town that you dreamed of living in. The more specific the image, the more powerful the resonance. You're not creating a catalog of desires. You're creating a personalized visual blueprint for who you're becoming. That means sourcing images that reflect actual, believable moments that you're moving toward. If you're building an online business, don't just use dollar signs. Find images of cozy workspaces, customer reviews, or moments of joyful productivity. You want images that make your body say, yes, that's me, that's mine. Your subconscious mind is influenced by repetition and emotional engagement. So give it fuel, give it detail, give it images that feel like memories waiting to happen. That's the difference between a board that inspires and one that overwhelms.
And once you've curated your board with emotional clarity, it's time to address something that trips up even the most intentional creators: the track of time. Vision boards are often created in January, right alongside New Year's resolutions. They come with unspoken expectations. I need to make all this happen within 12 months. But that mindset introduces pressure, and pressure disconnects you from trust. When you attach rigid deadlines to every dream, you're trying to rush nature. You wouldn't demand a seed to grow into a tree by next Tuesday, but we do that with ourselves. We think if it's not here yet, I'm doing something wrong. That thinking is flawed. Manifestation doesn't run on a clock. It runs on alignment. The more you choose the version of yourself who lives that vision, the faster and more naturally life rearranges to meet you. So let's make a shift. Instead of deadlines, think in terms of readiness. Am I ready to receive this? Am I living in a way that matches this? Am I showing up internally and externally like a person who has already arrived? Some dreams take longer because they're growing deep roots. They require identity shifts, new habits, sometimes even new relationships or environments. When you remove the time pressure, your board becomes a compass, not a stopwatch. It guides rather than judges. It invites rather than demands. And when you interact with your board from that spacious, trusting energy, you feel calmer, more open, and paradoxically, more productive because you're no longer chasing, you're aligning.
And that brings us to the final, most important piece, your frequency. At the end of the day, your vision board is only as powerful as the energy that you bring to it. If you build it from fear, it amplifies fear. If you build it from self-trust, it reflects potential. That's why the energy you hold while creating your board is just as important as the board itself. Before you begin, check in with yourself. Are you rushing, doubting, comparing? If so, pause. Regulate your nervous system. Meditate. Breathe. Tidy your space. Turn the process into a ritual. Creating your board should feel like a sacred act of acclaimment, not a race against time or a coping mechanism for anxiety. Once it's made, keep it active. Don't just stare at it and think, still not there. Instead, let it reconnect with you, the feeling of living those experiences. That emotional frequency is what magnetizes your desires, not the visuals themselves, but the way those visuals make you feel. And science backs this up. The reticular activating system in your brain filters information based on what you focus on. When you feed it consistently, emotionally resonant energy, it starts prioritizing opportunities and connections that match. That's not superstition, that's neurobiology. So when you find images that move you and you revisit them with presence, not pressure, you're literally training your brain to support your future. That's why one image that feels alive in your body is more powerful than 10 that look impressive but feel flat. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to align with the most honest version of your life.
So let's put it all together. A vision board isn't magic. It's a tool, a powerful strategic psychological tool, but only if you use it with awareness. It's not about perfection and it's not about performance. And it's definitely not about copying someone else's dream life. Your vision should feel like a mirror, reflecting not what you think you should want, but what truly resonates with your heart, your pace, your path. Start there. Make it personal. Make it emotionally true. Make it something you actually want to wake up to. And then trust the unfolding. Adjust along the way. Refresh your board as you evolve, because you will evolve.
Exactly. A vision board is not a monument to who you are today. It's an invitation into who you're becoming. Use it to stretch yourself, but not to shame yourself. Let it speak to your soul, not your mere critic. When you create from clarity, revisit with presence, and let go of the timeline, you stop chasing the future and start surfing into it. That's when the board works. Not because it's magical, but because you're finally in sync with the reality that you've been calling in. And that's the real secret. You don't manifest from the board itself. You manifest from the you who made it.
If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need a new perspective on their own visioning process. And if you like more talks like this on conscious creation, aligned action, and real world manifestation, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thank you for being here with us today. Keep creating from the inside out. So until next time, think differently, dream boldly, and create consciously.